Presented by Mountain Dew.
From our Seaport studios here, brought to you by Chase, Greeny, and Wilbon, and Jalen and Stephen A. Our opening tip tonight takes us to Los Angeles, where the Lakers lost another ugly game last night, and from the Lakers, and in particular from LeBron.
I'm afraid, having watched LeBron now for nearly 20 years, that we are seeing the end of his indestructibility. Not the end of his greatness, but just he can't go on like this forever. We judge too many things with the standard of Tom Brady, who's moving around, let's be fair, relative to LeBron in a small spot. LeBron is up and down the court.
Called a pocket.
A pocket. LeBron has no pocket.
That's right.
And as a matter of fact, the other night, when he had that incredible reverse two-handed throwdown, I'm still looking at him, and there's not the fluidity of movement because he's got injuries. LeBron didn't have injuries. The two things that always impressed me the most were LeBron James always makes the right play on the court, decision-making. Always. And he was indestructible. Greeny, when you have a series of injuries 3 times in 4 years, you're not indestructible anymore. And the Lakers are not going to be the Lakers that people expect if he's,
I want to make clear what it sounds to me like we're saying. Stephen A., has the era of LeBron James being the league's dominant player come to an end?
I wouldn't go that far because I think when healthy, he can still be that guy. My question to Wilbon, albeit rhetorical, is where have you been? I mean, LeBron James was hurt last year, okay? The reality is
not a,
all I'm trying to say is that
pattern.
What we're seeing right now is what we anticipated. Why do you think Russell Westbrook's there? He's 4 years younger. Okay, he's averaging, he's shooting 26% from three-point range. He's averaging nearly 5 turnovers a game. But what did we say? We said LeBron is 36, and Carmelo Anthony is 37. We're looking at Russell Westbrook. You're 32. You're going to quicken the pace. You're going to push the ball up the floor. And the combination of you with Anthony Davis should be able to spell for the games we anticipated. LeBron was going to be out because he's preserving himself. That's the problem. The fact that they don't look that great. Not that LeBron is injured right now.
Stephen A., anticipating something and seeing the reality of it, two different things. I was there when Cal Ripken suddenly had to miss games and was done being indestructible. I was there to watch Walter Payton no longer be indestructible. We see this from the greatest athletes of all time, and it's hard to watch. So, yes, you can anticipate it, but the reality of it is an entirely different deal.
I'm looking at a total different lens, and I still have the Los Angeles Lakers as the clear-cut best team in basketball.
Please.
That's what I have. And the thing is,
I need most teams.
I need someone to check his glasses.
Most teams struggle without their best player. LeBron James wasn't present. AD still had 28 and 19. Here's the thing: when they get none back and they get THT back, their role players are going to fall into place.
Okay.
And I'm telling you guys, Klay's going to eventually come back. Maybe Kawhi's going to eventually come back. Murray's going to eventually come back. Don't disrespect the Utah Jazz, but I still think when the Lakers are healthy, they're the best team.
Well, when they're healthy, that clause comes up more and more now. When they're healthy,
Here's what I am going to disrespect: those glasses. Those glasses. There's something wrong with those glasses because that's just not the case. Here's the deal. Let me put this on blast. If Klay Thompson and James Wiseman come back, the Warriors winning the championship, not the Lakers. Lakers can't mess with them. You got to have your point guard that can hit threes. You got to have your point guard that can avoid 5 turnovers a game. You got to have the combination of LeBron and AD doing what they're capable of doing. This is what I'm talking about when I'm looking at the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron, we've been talking about this for the last couple of years. We know how sensational he is. But there's a reason we said, is KD the best in the world? Is Giannis the Greek freak the best in the world? Because LeBron has been slipping just a touch. Not taken away from his greatness because it's still there.
But is it health the reason why?
Of course.
Yes, we're saying the same thing, Steve.
Of course.
He's had 3 seasons in L.A. prior to this one. He's only finished one of them healthy, and that was the one where they had the long layoff and then went to the bubble, and they win the championship. So, to your point, if he's all there at the end, maybe they are the team to beat, but that is a big if. To the point that you made, maybe a bigger if than it's ever felt like in his career.
He's going to be healthy come playoff time. To me, Anthony Davis is more of a question mark about health than LeBron James.
We said this last year, James.
He was the one that missed the playoff games last year.
But LeBron wasn't himself, wasn't the indestructible LeBron we're used to seeing. All I'm saying is, doesn't it bother you guys that they lost twice in this way?
Oklahoma City.
Okay, so you got how many wins on the season?
Yes.
2.
Correct.
Both over
26-point lead, 19-point lead, lost both games.
They've had to force easier schedule, so you hope that they would get off to a good start.
You got Wilbon concerned about LeBron's health. You got him more concerned about AD. I'm most concerned about Russell Westbrook because to me, I know, listen, AD going to be healthy or he not, period. LeBron going to be healthy or he not, period. Russell Westbrook could be 100%, and this still might not work.
So when we're debating,
this still might not work.
When we're debating which of the Lakers' concerns is the biggest, you know they've since now, as you mentioned, the team has fined Simmons a game check and will continue to do that until he meets certain requirements. And so we have Adrian Wojnarowski standing by with us live. Woj, what is the latest on what I guess we can now describe as a showdown?
Greeny, in these 2 weeks, the Sixers wanted Ben Simmons to meet and consult with their own doctors. He hasn't done that. They wanted information about the doctor, the professionals he's meeting with through the Players Association. They say he's not given them that. And so the Sixers feel like they have no choice now but to start fining Ben Simmons again. And not only are they going to fine him for not getting his cooperation on the mental health medical front, but also, for these day-to-day basketball responsibilities around the team facility, missed film sessions, strength and conditioning training. So in these 2 weeks now, the Sixers have gone back to where this started, finding Ben Simmons and no closer to having him back on the court and no closer to a trade, which obviously is what Ben Simmons has wanted all along.
All right, Woj, thank you. Stay close with anything further details. Meanwhile, Stephen A., I'll start with you on this here. We've been wondering, how is this thing eventually going to get resolved? Does this feel like the beginning of that? Is this the beginning of the end of Simmons in Philadelphia?
Well, I just think it's the beginning of the end of a really ugly scenario taking fold. The reality of the situation, both sides are arguing BS on the other side, and both of them are right. If you're the Philadelphia 76ers, you're Ben Simmons, you're talking about you've got some emotional and mental health issues. You're still there. You're healthy. You have the ability to play, but emotionally and mentally, you don't feel that you need to be there. Okay, they understand that, but you still want your money, which is why you came back from L.A. You're Ben Simmons. You're looking at the Philadelphia 76ers. You're fining me for not being at shoot-around, but I was at shoot-around. You're talking about I didn't do these drills or whatever, but I did what you asked me to do. So in the end, this is not about Elton Brand or Doc Rivers, who clearly had a better relationship with Ben Simmons at one point in time or another. This is about Daryl Morey and Sixers ownership, who don't appear to have any kind of relationship with Ben Simmons at all. And they're the ones calling the shots, and they're going to bring the hammer down, and we're going to see what's happening.
I saw for years if you were going to build around Joel Embiid that he and Simmons didn't fit long term. You bring in Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers to actually get a deal done. They don't get a deal done. He goes out and he struggles. Y'all lose against the Hawks, an up-aspiring team that y'all shouldn't lose to, and he plays horrible. The only way you can now move him is for the other 29 teams to see him play basketball.
Yes.
We've seen him struggle against the Hawks and score 0. We've heard him say he had a bad back. We've seen him say he had some mental issues. If these are the cases, they can't move him.
Right.
He's going to have to find a way to be competitive in a uniform in order to get moved.
So I'm back to the question that I asked on opening night to you, Michael Wilbon. Is he going to actually wind up playing for the Sixers?
I don't think so. I don't think it's possible. And I understand exactly what Jalen is saying in terms of building one's value, and that makes sense intellectually. But this has all the toxicity and the drama of what? A divorce.
Yeah.
This is a divorce. It's going to be messy until the two sides are away from each other. I don't know how they do that. I also don't know if he can rebuild his value. While I agree with Jalen that that's what these other teams are looking for. We talk to people on other teams. This is exactly what they're looking for. But can he restore any of his value in reality? Man, this is a mess. And here's the thing. The Sixers want him to meet with their doctors. They're saying, wait a minute, you think you're eligible to play for these other 29 teams? Your beef is not with them. Your beef is with us, and yet you won't meet with our doctors?
And they're switching it up now. If that was the argument that Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, and Ben Simmons made initially, now they're saying it's not about the 76ers. Even if he was on another team, he wouldn't be in any mental, emotional condition to play. Now, do we believe that? I'm not so sure. But I don't know. I don't know. So I'm not going to say that. What I will tell you is this. At the end of the day, here's what it comes down to. Jalen's absolutely right. His value will only elevate if he gets back on the court and shows what he's made of. The flip side to it, though, is since you know that's not his intent, if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, the only reason why you would come up with a plan of this nature is because you know you have the support of the league to do so, because you don't want a precedent established that, excuse me, I just cry wolf, and I don't mean to say I'm not trying to diminish any mental health issues.
Of course you're not. We're not doing that.
But the bottom line is, you're not going to get to come to us and say you can't play, but you still want your money. The league is not going to support that.
But how about this, though?
Super quick.
If you're going to move him, an all-NBA player, going into last year, you could have did it for an all-star.
Yeah,
that's right.
You can't do it now.
Can't do it now.
So the only way you could do it is for him to rebuild his value.
It's going to be very interesting to see. We'll talk much more about this when we get to the top of the next hour. For that.